Welcome back to an episode of Let's Build Twitter. We are in episode 72, and in this episode, we continue our spring cleaning, starting out with fixing up the top bar of our registration modal by injecting the RegistrationStepCounter component into the top component prop of the newly refactored modal. This allows us to treat the top bar the same as we were before the refactor. Then we go ahead and simply inject the content into the main section of the modal by passing the determineModalContent function call into the component prop of the modal. Finally, we have to have a lengthy discussion about the best course of action to make the next button work again. We try out a couple of different approaches before finally landing on creating a brand new RegisterNextButton component, which can determine which logic to run based on the current step of the modal. As always, I'm Ethan and Koder, and let's hop straight into development. So now what we'd want to do is go ahead and clean up and use this new modal for the rest of it and kind of get the actual login flow working again. So let's see how we can go ahead and refactor that to get this working. So what we'll probably want to go ahead and do is go into our register modal, because this is where all of the content switching is going on. And what we might end up doing is we have the top button, so we're gonna have to kind of move that out. I don't know what our use selector is used for. Oh, it's because, okay, I understand. It's for the decrement step. We can pull that out and we can kind of make this, I suppose, pretty bare bones at this point. Our content is all going to be coming from these steps. So for example, register form 1, this is the actual content, so on and so forth. And somewhere we have a utility for this. So we have a register step utils, right? And then we also have our this one. So what we could do for one thing is inside the modal, inside of register modal. So this top content should be the register step. So if we look in here, I think, did we just call it register step counter? And we have the display icon. So we want to go ahead and import this, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and we already have it, I guess. So we want our top content. And let's make this a little bit prettier. So we'll do this, and this. So our top content is going to now be the counter. So we'll say register step and then registration step counter. And I think this needs the, did we call it on click? I'm going to close out this again. We called this change step. So, and we also need the step. So we need step and change step. So the step is going to equal to, I'm guessing, state dot, and we're going to get the step. And then our change step is going to equal to our step button clicked. Now CSS might be scuffed on this, and we can fix that. I just want to see, if we can get this working. And I accidentally closed this, I think. Let's see. Yep, there we go. And then close that. So now theoretically, this should be fixed up. So we should be able to see the rest of what we are looking for. I'm going to do this. So if we come back in here, we should see the step. Awesome. Looks good. It's working. Now, I don't remember if we have the console working or not. Does this do anything? Doesn't do anything. That's fine. It's all good. So there we go. This part is working fine. So now the next part is going to be the content, which again should be relatively easy. We should just be able to call the determineModalContent like so and paste it in here. And I believe this is a method that takes the step number. So step and could not find, it's going to be state.step. And now this should show the content as it did before. Now remember, the content might be scuffed right now, so just keep that in mind. So if we come in here, it looks relatively good. We're going to remove the button though, and that's going to be the biggest refactor from this. So I'm going to go ahead and go through all of the, I guess that's what we'll do next. Let's go ahead and go through all of the register steps and get rid of the buttons. We're going to pull that button to the bottom area where it needs to go, and we'll fix that up. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this old modal, and hopefully that doesn't break anything. Did that break anything? Let's see. Control tilde. It did break one thing inside of landing page. So come back to landing page. Where's my landing page? Landing.tsx, and get rid of this. We don't even need it anyway. Save, and we're good to go. All right, so that's good. So our register modal open. Let's go through. We need register step 1, open that one. We need register step 2 or form 2. We need form 3. We need form 4, 5. And do we have a 6? We do have a 6. All right, so this is going to be the biggest undertaking, getting rid of all this stuff. We already have a down next button we can just use, I guess. So that's cool. Yeah, I think that should make it somewhat easy. So we don't need this. And I wanted to start at form 1. So form 1, we don't need this guy, and it doesn't look like it's in any special div or anything. No, it was just inside the container div. Cool. We do not need this guy. Cool. We do not need this guy. Ooh. The issue is going to be doing the logic for each one of these again, and that may take a little bit longer than I remember. So that might be interesting. So we'll get rid of this guy, I guess. I mean, we have the full send. Let's go. We'll fix it as we go. So go ahead and get rid of this styled button. And maybe I shouldn't get rid of all this. Maybe I should think of a way to fix all these before I delete them. So let's actually go back. And go back, because some of these actually, some of these actually do information, and we'll say state.step. Okay, what did I break? Content there. All right, so the bottom content is going to be a next button. We're probably going to have to figure out a special way to do this, because I definitely want the modal to go in there. I mean, I could. The thing is, with the button, all it does is it just takes in a click listener, I think, or some logic for the click listener. So if I come into here, where is my styled button at? So we have all of this. Oh, we had a register button. Might be outside. Where is it? Register next button. There it is. We have this register next button. It's just a styled button, and all it does is takes in some information, and then let's see. Then I think we can add in whatever we want on it. So I think we can keep the stuff from the whatever. This one doesn't really do much. This one just goes to the next page. This form 1. Form 1 takes in the information, updates register, commences the step. This should probably be fixed as well. And why is name error there? Oh, it's because we set error to false. I don't know why we're setting error to false there. Okay, that's fine. And then we have our active. We have the color that we want, the button active. So let me think for a sec about what I want to do here. The problem that we're going to run into is that we're maybe going to have to set up some other props or something for these to pass back to the register modal, because register modal needs to know basically what logic is going to be doing whenever it goes, you know, to the next, for example. And we need to figure out a way of basically saying, hey, we want to do this at this point and this at that point. We know what step we're on and all of that stuff, but we need to figure out how we're going to extract this method, for example. So here we have all of this stuff, so on and so forth. We could just pass state around, I suppose, and make sure everything works as expected. And for example, so the whatever it's called, the next button could be this. The only thing is that dispatch, use dispatch has to be inside of a component. It can't just be inside of something else. So that's something else we have to work around. So yeah, we need to figure out some way of knowing what information is going to be going on in the next button. The easiest thing we could do is maybe have like a prop that says next button or something, and then pass that through we couldn't do it through the determineModal though. This determineModalContent is going to come out of this util and RegistrationStepCounter util, and it just says, hey, do this, this, and this. The thing is, technically I could set up a bunch of dispatchers in here. I don't necessarily think that's going to be best case scenario though. Like, I could have all the different dispatchers for register form 1 dispatch, register form 2 dispatch, register form 3 dispatch, you know, this one submits a user, register form 4 dispatch, so on and so forth. This one has a bunch of dispatchers on it, register form 5 dispatch, and so on and so forth. And this one doesn't work anyway. So, I mean, the problem is that I don't want to bloat the register modal. That's the thing. Let's go ahead and throw a style a styled button down here though, so we can go ahead and import. And I think I called this styled. Is it called styled register button? Styled next button. And I guess let's just go ahead and throw styled next button in here for the heck of it. And then we'll figure out what we're gonna do. So styled next button. And this is gonna take in a few things. So what does it need? It needs a, what does it need? It says it needs a reference to an HTML button. What do I have inside here? So it has disabled, color, active, and on click. So let's go ahead and just grab those and throw it in here, I suppose. So it needs disabled. I'm just gonna say true for the time being. It needs color. It needs active, false, and then it needs an on click. Console.log hello. So this is everything we need for this button. It's kind of a mess, but oh well. Let's see what this looks like. We have our button here. Looks the same. Now the issue is that we need a different method for each one of these. I mean, technically speaking, I don't think we can get props or anything out of these. So you can say .props. I'm curious. Let's try to do something here. So let's say register form 1, and let's make a props here. That's not gonna work though, because it's gonna have to pass. This is gonna be a problem. This is gonna blow our register modal like crazy. It's almost like we need to create a special button for each situation, maybe inside of these. So for example, register form 1 has a register form 1 button that takes in, I don't know. The issue is still that we need to be able to dispatch, and we can't dispatch from a utility because it's not a, we could just make a function maybe that returns a JSX element that might technically allow us to do that. Let's try this. So export const, and we'll say determine modal button, and we'll need a step here, which is a number, and JSX dot element. So we'll return a JSX element. Now my question is, we'll return a div really quick. My question is, if we go ahead and say import use dispatch from React Redux, or can we actually use it in here? So let's say const dispatch is equal to use dispatch. So it seems like, excuse me, it seems like it's letting me for the time being. Let's import. We might want to use something different here. Dispatch state or dispatch type. I forget what I called this. Store is called app dispatch. And maybe also root state. From dot slash all the way out to Redux slash store. Did I call it root state? Yeah, I did. And I guess we could grab use selector. Now the question is this gonna actually work? So this should be, I forgot what I call it, app dispatch. Let's also grab const state. It's equal to root state. Or root app state is equal to use selector. And then we have our state, which is a root state. We want to return state.register. All right, so we can do another thing where we have like a switch statement here. So switch on the step And we'll say, okay. And case 1 is going to be, so case 1 is going to, I'm gonna need other functions and stuff, but for example, here, button active false. We have a dispatch for update register. It doesn't really do anything other than just update. It doesn't actually go anywhere. What we could literally do is return a styled next button with this information. And I guess this would probably be better as a full component or something, but we'll see what happens. And I know I keep forgetting to close this. I'm thinking too hard. But anyway, so let's return this style next button that we need to import. And now we need to, this is going to be the issue, is how do we determine whether or not it's actually needs to be disabled or enabled or whatnot? And that's going to be the big problem, is all the different information that we have to pass it. The color wouldn't be an issue. The problem is active and disabled. What's the general rule for register mode utils, or for register form 1? It needs to be active. It has to have a valid date of birth. It has to have a valid email, a valid first name, and a valid last name. And it looks like we're updating the state as we go. So I mean, technically speaking, we should be able to do this. So we should be able to say, hey, I'm gonna copy this, except this should be just state. But what we could do, I don't know why we need this. I'm not sure we have that. But what we could basically do is like, okay, case 1, we can say, not const, let, we can literally say button active, I guess. Let button active equal to, and then this is really ugly, but we can say this and say state, I don't know what happened there, state.valid, state.this, state.this, and state.this. And button active, what is this problem? So it's fine with the disabled, but it's not fine with the active for some reason. And I'm just gonna do this for now, console.log, Okay, so what is the problem with the active part? No overload for ref, blah, 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 form string, undefined. So button active is a Boolean or a string. So what if we say Boolean? Now it's a problem because string or Boolean is not okay. So TypeScript, annoying stuff. I think this should be first name valid, because this one says last name valid. I think this is a typo. I think this should be first name valid. So if all of those return true. So let's test this out. Maybe. So we have a problem. React hook is called inside blah, blah, blah. Yes. So I figured that was going to be an issue. So I think best case scenario is we make a registered. We already have this register next button though. Maybe we rename this to styled next button. I guess we don't have to. We could just say, I don't know if you can export to, yeah, you should be able to export const extra next button. And we'll say this is a react.function component. I don't think it needs anything. And this is just going to be a switch statement. So for now, I'm going to return a div just to get rid of it, or so it stops complaining. And what we're going to do is we will go ahead and take in a prop for this. So this is going to be a, we're going to say, we're going to cheat a little bit because I'm lazy. And this is going to be a step : number. And And then we need step in here. Probably gonna screw this up. And maybe let's just add, and let's just maybe return let's go ahead and return a styled next button, just for the heck of it. Styled next button. And then we need a bunch of stuff in here. I forget what we need. So let me go ahead and take a look at what we need. We need disabled, yada, yada, yada. So let's grab all this again and put it in here. Disabled. We'll say true. We'll say false. And then we'll say this. That's fine. And we'll do that. Save. And actually inside this, what I want to do is have in the styled next button, like so. And on the inside of this, I want to have a thing that says the step number. Do I have to say props.step? No. This is why I don't like doing it this way. Props. I just tried props.step and did not like it. Let's go ahead and make an interface, whatever. I'm not great with TypeScript. Interface, register next button, props, and we'll just say step number. We'll throw this in here. Once upon a time, I remembered how to do this, but I can't remember for the life of me now. So step outside that should be fine. So what is your problem? Because I didn't do this. Here we go. So there's that. And we come back into register modal. Instead of style next button, we're just going to pass in the register next button, which takes in the step equal to the state.step, like so, and save. And this should be fine now, I think. But we still have the issue with the hook, so let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. So yeah, I figured that's what was going to happen, but I wanted to test it really quick. Let's get rid of this. We have to call all the dispatches in here, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Now this should at least be working. Yes, and we see the number in there, so that's fine. The thing that sucks is that this is going to end up being like full of junk, basically, which isn't great, but I guess it is what it is. What can you do? Unfortunately, that's going to be it for today. If you guys enjoyed, please stick around for the next episode by hitting that subscribe button. You'll know exactly when it comes out, especially at that bell icon. If you did enjoy the content today, please sure leave a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a thumbs down. Either way, it helps out with the algorithm all the same. And finally, if you have any suggestions or feedback for me, make sure you leave a comment down below. With that being said, I appreciate you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.